I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here as we are at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, getting ready to cap off what's been an exciting race weekend at the home of the Neon Garage. And it's the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series drivers ready to take to the track. This is the third race of the 8th season of the Cup Series, the Full House 150, as these drivers will prepare for 101 laps around this D-shaped mile-and-a-half oval. We're coming off the heels of an exciting race last week at Manassas. We've had two great races to start out the year. Two different drivers have gone to victory lane, and one of them lines up on the pole position. Matt Haas, our first ever two-time Daytona 500 winner, becomes the first driver this season to capture both a win and a pole, as he will start on the inside of the front row here this afternoon at Las Vegas, and he'll be alongside of Levi McIntyre. Both of these drivers started out really well at Daytona. Matt Haas with the win, Levi McIntyre with the top 10, but both struggled last week at Manassas. Matt Haas dropped 5 spots and stands down to 6th. Levi McIntyre fell outside of the top 10 to currently sitting in 13th place. Both those drivers will look for a little bit of a rebound race here this afternoon. Last week it was Nathan Ormond who went to victory lane for his first win of the season and snapping a winless streak going back to Watkins Glen of season 7. Nathan Ormond jumped up 19 spots in the standings. He is 11th in overall points coming into this one, which means if the playoffs were to begin right now, he would be in the number 1 wildcard seed, but he'd love to point his way further up into the top 10. Should be a good one here this afternoon. Cannot wait to see what occurs. Yesterday came down to strategy. Track position played a key factor as well. And really, it came down as well to pit road execution and maybe, just maybe, the undercut on strategy and tires might have come into play, but I'm not exactly sold on that front. Maybe different here today with the Cup cars that we know are going to run slightly faster speeds. Will passing be a premium? We saw passing was very difficult yesterday. You had to be very methodical in how you were able to utilize the inside line. Outside line seemed a little bit stronger. All those questions and more are going to be answered in just a little bit. We're going down trackside to get those most famous words in motorsports and go racing this afternoon at Las Vegas.
Drivers, start your engines!
All right, boys, just like we talked about in the meeting, what's going to pay off for us today is patience and consistency. Good, smooth racing on the racetrack, and that's what will take us up to the front. We'll be there at the end of this thing.
Bottom right of your screen, you see your 42-car starting lineup for this afternoon's Full House 150 at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Your point standings coming into this race: Benjamin Snyder, after back-to-back top 5s to start out the season, is your current points leader. Benjamin Miles 1 point back in second. Jack Mitchell 3 points back in third. Those three drivers have finished in the top 5 in both the Daytona and Manassas races. Dylan Young and Cole Deaver are 4th and 5th, 6 and 7 points back. Your top 5 in points have finished in the top 10 in the first 2 races. Matt Haas, your Daytona 500 winner and pole sitter, 6th in points, 8 points out of the points lead. Joshua Osborne jumped up 9 spots in the standings last week. He sits now 7th, 10 points out. Eric Sadler, who's tied for the rookie points lead with Eric Monaco. He is 8th right now, 14 points back. 18 points back in 9th is Matt McIntyre. And Reggie Fogelman jumped up into the top 10, plus 3 after last week in Manassas. He has 19 points out of the points lead. 101 laps here this afternoon at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Who's going to get that third checkered flag of Season 8? Green flags in the air, and we are racing in the Full House 150. Matt Haas with a great jump of 2 car lengths back to the side-by-side for second. Levi McIntyre on the top. Ryan Brommer on the bottom. Out of turn 4, lap 1 will be led by the M&M's Toyota Camry XSE. As McIntyre did clear around the outside of Brommer for second. Brommer slips back to third. His teammate Chung into fourth. And Keith Batson right now going to slot into the 5th position as Chung looks to the bottom on her teammate for P3. Look at Levi McIntyre with a big run through 3 and 4. He'll look to the inside left rear quarter panel of Matt Haas and look to take the top position. Haas with that high arc entry carries a lot more speed on the top side into turn 1. You saw Levi McIntyre have to lift there. Back end looked a little loose going into the first corner. Let's see if there's an inside line here through 3 and 4 as Ryan Brommer will peak low on McIntyre for second. Doesn't look like it. So track position will be optimal here today. It definitely looks like passing will be difficult. As the tires wear down, the longer the run goes on, you may end up seeing more opportunity for passing if you were able to save your tires for the long run. Things have gotten pretty single-filed out amongst the top 10. Keith Batson taking a peek there on Laura Chung. That's for 4th. Dustin Bolin, Jessica Shelton, Danny Bouchard all looking on. Look at Charles Sanford repping the top there. He gained a bunch of ground on Bouchard. As Sanford right now in the 9th position. And Jesse Turner, I think, just completed a pass, actually, around Alexander Rowe to move into the 10th spot. Anthony McCurry, who took part yesterday in the Ultralight Series race. Autumn Brooks to his outside there as well. Both these drivers were in the lights race yesterday. Trying to apply that experience here today. Is Anthony not quite going to clear Autumn? A couple of teammates out of Garage 55. Right behind them, the bright neon yellow, mellow yellow Chevrolet of Kyle Matthews. Kyle did not have a good run at Daytona as he finished dead last, but last week bounced back at Manassas, gained himself 17 spots to move up to 25th in the point standings. That's the highest that he's run, well, in about maybe 2/3 of a season, as last year he spent most of the season down in the cellar of the point standings. Top 2 have broken away. 3-way battle for 3rd as Keith Batson with a late move there on Laura Chung. They almost made some contact. Chung, though, with the run on that top side, might be able to get enough of a run down the back straightaway to make a move on Ryan Brommer. She'll look low. Got to take that momentum somewhere, but it just does not look like that inside line has the grip necessary to be able to make a move, much like what we saw in the lights race yesterday. And we have to remember that the lights race yesterday, they were running slower speeds. They were carrying somewhere around, I think it was 182 top speed into the corner. These drivers here, these Cup drivers, they're carrying almost 190 into turn 3. There's a lot more speed, a lot more tire wear off, you would certainly think. Also, a lot of downforce available with the new rear spoiler wing we've got on these cars here this season. So this is going to have a different dynamic in terms of the racing that we'll see as opposed to what we saw in yesterday's lights race. Jessica Shelton right now running in the 7th position, the defending champion of the series. Shelton coming into this race 28th in the point standings. Had a decent run at Daytona, struggled last week at Manassas. Average finishing position of 28th in the first 2 races. Dustin Bolin right ahead of her, another driver looking for a good run today. Did not have the best of luck in the first 2 races of the season. 31st in points coming into this one. He's qualified well. In the first 2 races, he has an average starting position of 8th place, and he qualified well yesterday afternoon for this event this afternoon, but just has not been able to translate it into good finishes as the teammates are back at it again for 3rd, and this time Laura Chung was able to get back to the throttle through the center of 1 and 2. Can she complete the pass on the inside of the Twix Toyota? Nope, not going to be able to. Brommer had just too good of a run coming out of 2 and onto the back straightaway. Jesse Turner appears to be making some moves. He's alongside of Alexander Rowe. Autumn Brooks right behind him, along with Charles Sanford. A couple of teammates there side by side out of Lick Effect Autosport. Alexander Rowe, whose last full-time season, if you could call it that, was season 5 when he was teamed up with Diego Yepes and Ryan Butcher over at Auto Junction Racing. Alexander Rowe actually made his first full-time appearance back in season 3. Picked up a victory at Pikes Peak. He was driving at the time the number 24 out of Northeast Motorsports. Further up, do we have ourselves a completed pass? Destin Bolin on Keith Batson. Not quite yet clear. Let's see if he can keep this momentum down to 3. This is the battle for 5th place right now. And might have to lift up ahead there for Laura Chung. I think Batson's going to hang on to the spot as they are wadded up. Daniel Bouchard now with a move on Shelton. Autumn Brooks right there as well. You saw Autumn have to back out of the throttle. Oh, and I think that Daniel Bouchard would have completed the pass, but he had to check up for the 0-2 of Dustin Bolin ahead of him. That just killed all of his center corner speed. And now I think Shelton, yep, she's going to be able to swing back around and keep the position, which would be 7th place. So just notice back there, Nathan Ormond coming off the heels of that victory last week. He's up here at the tail end of this group. Right now scored in P16, right behind Connor Breton, who had 3 victories last year in his rookie season. Nathan Ormond, if the playoffs were to begin right now, he would be in the number 1 wildcard seed since he is the first driver outside the top 10. Highest in the point standings with a victory. Pretty much your top 16 in points would all be your playoff drivers. We told you your top 10, and then it would be Nathan Ormond, Eric Monaco, Levi McIntyre, Caleb Vogler, Daniel Bouchard, and Ryan Brommer. And Autumn Brooks with a completed pass on the inside. That might be the first one today, at least up at the front of the field, as she will get the position off of Alexander Rowe. That was, I believe, a pass for 9th place. Laura Chung still continuing to try to get to the inside of Ryan Brommer in the top 2 as this battle for 3rd place has continued on, have pulled away. Matt Haas about 0.3 of a second over Levi McIntyre, and then another 1.5 seconds back to Ryan Brommer in 3rd. And Levi with a run here through 1 and 2. Gonna take and show the nose to the inside of Matt Haas. Don't think he's going to get the pass completed, though. He's testing the waters, seeing what he can do. Remember yesterday, though, in the lights race, it was Roberto Crown Jr. out in front for 50 laps. We got to the cycle of green flag pit stops. He did not emerge as the race leader. He was mired back in traffic. He was able to fight his way back up for a top 5, but the dominant car of the day did not go on to win, and pit road was the deciding factor. Now, these drivers should be able to go further on the fuel window than the lights drivers were. They all pitted somewhere between laps 50 to 55 in the lights race. They should be able to go further here today, maybe somewhere past the lap 60 mark, somewhere maybe between lap 60 to 70. They will have to pit, though. They cannot make it the full 101 laps. Great battling back here, though, inside of the latter portion of the top 5. The thing that is encouraging about this, too, is the fact that not one lane is really all that dominant over the other. Yeah, there's a bit of an advantage, obviously, there on the top side off the corner exit, but we saw Autumn Brooks be able to complete a pass on the bottom of the racetrack. So it's not necessarily if you get kicked to the outside line, you're going to end up losing positions and all that momentum. You're able to actually fight back. As Keith Batson, one thing you got to do is you got to save your tires for the long run, and Batson literally slid into turn 1 that last time. That is not going to do those rear tires any favors, and that's going to take away that rear grip the longer the run goes on. Well, how about that Beefo Brady's number 46 of Alexander Rowe? What do you say we jump on board with him and listen to what it's like making your way around Las Vegas in traffic, as right now he holds the 9th position. One thing I love about our onboard cameras is, wow, that was nearly contact between Rowe and Bouchard. But you can listen into the engine sounds, the throttle fluctuation, and you can get a sense of what we're seeing here from the spectator view, what these drivers are dealing with inside of these race cars. One of the biggest things I heard right there when we were on board with him, he was to the inside of Daniel Bouchard, and he had to lift on corner exit. That is why drivers on the outside line are being able to get those runs off of 2 onto the straightaway or off of 4 onto the straightaway, is because the car on the inside is having to bail out of the throttle. Why are they having to do that? Because the car is getting tight and wanting to push up when they try and get back to the throttle on that inside line. And that loses them all of the momentum that they were trying to gain, especially down the backstretch headed for turn 3. Daniel Bouchard now to the inside of Jessica Shelton. Talked about our rookie class this season. Definitely a good one to be sure, much like we've had the last couple of seasons. Eric Sadler, Eric Monaco tied for the rookie points lead after the first 2 races. Daniel Bouchard 3 points back in second place, I guess you could say. And Summer Henson right now 3rd. And she is a total of 5 points out of the rookie points lead, but it's obviously still super close, and I expect it to be close all the way through the season. Laura Chung got passed by Keith Batson. Batson now up to P4. Destin Bolin trying to make a pass there. Is Jessica Shelton actually going to try and get around Destin on the inside line? And I thought was going to have him clear, but had to lift. You saw the flares coming out of the tailpipes there. So Bolin trying to get back up there into that 6th position. And Batson continues to move forward, looking now for 3rd on Ryan Brommer. Meanwhile, Matt Haas continues to show the way as we're about a quarter of the way through this race. Dropped to the back of the pack because a number of drivers here, as we've been seeing with it difficult to pass, did not qualify well, and it doesn't look like very many of them have made all that good of progress. Caleb Fogler coming off a poor performance last week at Manassas, dropping from 2nd to 14th in points. Right now is dead last Reggie Fogelman, who we mentioned had just moved up into the top 10 in points after last week. He's currently in 41st. Michael Norman, back-to-back weeks that he has qualified on the final row. Now, last week, he translated it into a decent run, top 10 performance at Manassas and jumped up 13 spots in the standings, but not the case here today. We were just talking about Summer Henson trying to get back into the rookie points battle. Right now, she is scored in the 39th spot. Another rookie back here as well, Eric Monaco, in the PNC Bank colors this weekend. How about some drivers that are running well in the points back here as well? There's your top two in points, nose to tail. Benjamin Snyder in the green Live Reality Games Ford. And then just a couple cars behind him, the gold, white, and black Napa Hertz Chevrolet of Benjamin Miles. That's first and second in points, and there's third in points right there, Jack Mitchell. Mentioned the fact that Miles, Snyder, and Mitchell started out the year with back-to-back top fives, and none of them are even run up inside the top 25 right now. Pit road could obviously play a factor into all of this, and they could gain track position, but it's not looking good, at least in the early going, for these drivers. RJ Bishop had a great run yesterday in the Duracell Ultra Light Series race, but he's currently mired back in traffic. 26th right now for him. There's Matt McIntyre, top 10 in points. And how about this? Kyler Sustre, 22nd place. He is the only driver that is a chartered driver in the field that is a former winner here. The defending winner of this race, when remember last year he was a non-charter driver, single car entry. I think it was his second race that he made. I think he had made the race at Manassas the prior weekend. So I think it was in his second start. He went to victory lane as a rookie. Now in a full-time chartered ride with Haas Racing. The other driver that is a former winner here, but he's a non-charter driver this afternoon, is all the way back here. There he is. In the 39th position, that is the former champion Jordan Lopez. He won this event all the way back in the inaugural season, Season 1. The other previous winners of this event, Season 2, it was Wyatt Quayle, driving for Joanna Atwood Motorsports. Season 3, Jacob Thibodeau, driving for Northeast Motorsports. Ryan Butcher was the winner in Season 4. As a matter of fact, Auto Junction Racing went back-to-back, as in Season 5, it was Roberto Crown Jr. We saw him dominate the early portion of yesterday's Light Series race. And then Season 6, here's an obscure name. Blue Oval Automotive rookie driver William Hoer going to victory lane. And if I remember correctly, it was the number 83 Hershey's Ford out of Blue Oval Automotive. So BOA has 2 wins here. Auto Junction Racing has 2 wins here. And then Joanna Atwood Motorsports, Northeast Motorsports, and the single car team that Kyler Sustre drove for last season. Levi McIntyre will not go away in that 7-Up Zero Sugar Ford. He just cannot complete the pass, though, on Matt Haas. Keeps trying to run a half groove lower through the corners, trying to gain that ground, but it just has not worked for him. Meanwhile, Ryan Brommer still holds the 3rd position. Laura Chung looking to the inside of Keith Batson for 4th. One driver that has been picking up spots and has been doing so on the inside line has been Autumn Brooks, the rookie out of Garage 55. We saw her make a pass earlier. She's just recently gotten around Jessica Shelton to pick up another spot. She's up to 8th place. So one of the few drivers that has been able to make passes, work her way through the field, and she might be doing it around the outside. Watch here, as Destin Bolin got to the outside of Alexander Rowe, Brooks jumps up to the right rear quarter panel, and this might be what you have to do to be able to make passes. You might have to try and catch somebody out. Let's see if the pass is completed. Destin Bolin still trying to clear Alexander Rowe, and then here comes Autumn Brooks alongside. So Autumn Brooks has figured it out. Got to jump up there to the right rear of somebody to get around him, and Brooks will now move up to P7. I think other drivers are going to notice that. There you go. Jessica Shelton jumps up to the outside of Alexander Roche. She'll swing around and pick up the 8th position. So more and more drivers now realizing that you gotta, if the opportunity's there, if the space is there, you gotta jump up to that outside. Autumn Brooks doing it again. She'll go to the outside of Destin Bolin. And Brooks is on the move. Now she'll dive to the inside on Laura Chung. I think Autumn started this race from 11th, and she is now up to the 6th position. And looking for more on Laura Chung 77. Drop a little further back, Carson Gum in the 19, looking to the outside of Connor Breton, up inside of the top 15. Carson coming into this race in the '40th position in points. I knew he was down there towards the bottom. 36th place average finishing position. As a matter of fact, he is one of 3 drivers that have started the first 2 races of the season and have fewer points accumulated than Mike Tellier, who only ran in the Daytona 500. Carson right now in P14, looking for his first top 15 finish of the season. A couple of other drivers that have really struggled here in the beginning of the year. We already talked about Summer Henson. Austin LaPlante has really struggled here in the first 2 races. Anthony McCurry, Charles Sanford, James Qualls. All needing bounce-back races here as Keith Batson continuing to try to put the pressure there on Ryan Brommer for the 3rd position. Levi McIntyre to the inside of Matt Haas. Now these two, while they have been racing each other, they have been able to continue to extend the lead. The last time we checked, it was about 1.5 seconds. It's now nearly 5 seconds. Matt Haas and Levi McIntyre over 3rd place. So it may end up being a mano-a-mano here of who has the best execution of a pit stop when that pit stop comes around. I'm not necessarily certain that 3rd place on back are going to have a shot at this, unless a caution comes out to bunch everybody back up. But so far, we've been able to run green. We ran green the entirety of our race yesterday in lights. So I'm not 100% certain that these drivers here are going to have a lifeline in the case of a yellow to be able to get back in the conversation. And I don't see how short pitting is going to really gain you much. Although as I'm looking at the lap times here, there is a lot more fall off this afternoon than there was yesterday in the lights race. There's about 1.5 seconds fall off right now. But granted, you gain that 1.5 seconds back. What does that cut it down to? 3.5 seconds between you and the top 2? Matt Haas has now been able to actually gap Levi McIntyre. This is about the biggest gap that Matt Haas has had over Levi the entire race. About 7 or 8 car lengths. Levi going to look to kind of wind the rubber band back up, reel the 8 car back in. These two have gotten themselves single filed out now. Ryan Brommer and Keith Batson, if they don't race amongst themselves, they might be able to get up there to Levi. The battling will continue though for the 5th position, and that will just continue to lose them more ground. We'll keep tabs here on these two. If they can get themselves in a bit of a tandem, they might be able to catch up to these guys. I don't know. They'd need Levi to start racing Matt Haas again, as now these drivers have gotten themselves singled out a little bit here. Well, the question is, when does that pit stop take place? We've already seen pit road is very difficult to get onto. Just ask Skylar Taylor, as he completely missed the pit road commitment cone yesterday and finished 3 laps down as a result. Matt Haas continues to show the way here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We will be right back after this commercial break. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. Welcome back to the Full House 150 from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we're on board with Laura Chung looking ahead to the battle for the third position. Matt Haas has been out in front the entirety of this race as he has led the last 49 laps. Levi McIntyre right with him in the second position though. Has not allowed the 8 car to breathe, continuing to hound him for the race lead, but has not been able to complete a pass around him. And pit stops looming within somewhere, I'd say, the next 20 to 25 laps. Here's a look at what's coming up around the turn, brought to you by NNSCRA Paint Designs, as after this race is concluded, we pack up the haulers and we're headed to the Pocono Mountains as Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle, plays host to both series. We kick things off next Friday with the Duracell Ultralight Series Pole Day qualifying. Saturday, the Cup drivers will take to the track to try and qualify for the pole position. And then that following Saturday afternoon, it is the Giant Center 125, fourth race of the season for the Duracell Ultra Light Series drivers. On Sunday, it's the Hershey Park 150 for the Cup drivers. Should be a good one in the Pocono Mountains. Pocono was almost on the chopping block in terms of this season's schedule when it was compiled, but after some testing and second chances, I guess you could say, Pocono remains on the Duracell Cup Series schedule and should be a really exciting race weekend. I mean, we're talking about fuel strategy here this afternoon, pit strategy at Las Vegas, gambling, well, next week at Pocono is going to be no exception. I know we've been talking an awful lot about her, but she's really the only driver that has made good forward progress, and that is Autumn Brooks. She just got around Laura Chung a couple of laps ago to move into the top 5. Now, Autumn Brooks is not running for points in the Cup Series. She's a non-charter driver out of Garage 55, but she is running full-time, attempting to make every race. The main reason being, they're hoping, Garage 55 that is, to get a charter next season to put Autumn Brooks in full-time. She's running for points in the Light Series, running full-time there as well, but getting as much experience as possible here in the Cup Series, and she's making some Cup Series veteran moves here today. Started outside of the top 10, now up into the top 5. Another driver that is on the move is Carson Gum. Carson also started this race outside of the top 10, and he's now fighting for the 8th position on Destin Bolin. Destin not going to give up that spot easily there. He's got the preferred line on the top, as Carson kind of pinned down there on the bottom of the racetrack. Charles Sanford with a great run there behind him. The GoBowling.com Chevrolet. Couple of former champions there nose to tail with Carson and Charles. We talked about the fact Charles Sanford, one of a half dozen drivers that did not get a good start to the year at either Daytona or Manassas. Charles coming into this race 36th in points. And right now just outside of the top 10 looking in. Good solid points day if he can hold on to this. Same can be said for Nathan Ormond coming off that victory last week. Last time by scored in 13th and could easily point his way up into the top 10 if he can hold court there as we're past the halfway point. But S3 Motorsports, 75% of their cars run up inside of the top 15. Sanford last time by in 11th. Shelton, the defending champion, in 12th. And Kyle Matthews right now holding down the 14th position. The only driver not up here out of that organization is Cole Deaver, and he's inside the top 20. Last time by, he was scored in 19th place. Autumn Brooks tried for 4th place on Keith Batson, but Batson, utilizing the outside line, swings back to that position. As you've been keeping an eye on the ticker, the gap continues to increase. The top 2 back to 3rd place, now pressing towards 6 seconds. Well, Matt Haas would love to pick up a 2nd victory in the first 3 races of the season. I think it's safe to say, provided he stayed in the top 30 in points, he may already secure himself a playoff spot if he can get 2 wins this early on. I don't think we've ever had a driver do that before. We've had multi-time winners before. Okay, hold the phone. The caution's out. This changes everything up. And I think this takes the pit strategy game completely out, because they should be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel now, but the caution waves for the first time today, coming around to complete lap 59. We'll have to find out what it was that brought this caution out. Ooh, looks like we had ourselves a pretty big wreck out of turn 4 and onto the front straightaway as the field makes their way through the lingering smoke onto pit road. Alright, well, the pit crews were probably preparing for a green flag money stop. Now they got to get themselves ready for one here under caution with everybody all bunched up. There's a bunch of drivers on pit road there. Oh, wow, it's a lot of drivers. I saw Dylan Young, Austin LaPlante, Caleb Fogler, Daniel Voiles, rather. Nathan Ormond was in it. He's there on pit road. Now, we've already got some drivers that have gone back behind the wall. We'll stay here, though. Watch this battle off of pit lane. That was Jordan Lopez leaving pit lane, the 82, with a lot of damage. This was a multi-car wreck for sure. And it's going to take a number of drivers out of this race. Brommer. Close battle off of pit road with Matt Haas, but I think Haas is going to get it. Brommer leapfrogs McIntyre to 2nd. McIntyre comes out 3rd. And Keith Batson and Autumn Brooks are going to be the top 5. The garage area is piling up with race cars. And let's take a look and see what happened. I would have to assume it may have started with last week's winner, Nathan Ormond, because of the drivers I saw with damage. He was the one that was furthest up. Let's see if we can pinpoint what went down. This is going into turn 1. The incident I don't think occurs until we get over to 3 and 4. Ormond with a move on Shelton, and Turner was there. Quentin Moore up and over, and then the track's just going to get completely blockaded up. Oh man, LaPlante hard hit. There's Summer Henson, Jordan Lopez, Dylan Poteet, Caleb Fogler. And those cars up there, top of your screen, were involved earlier on. They got into, I think it was Quentin Moore when he came back down the track. I think our points leader, Benjamin Snyder, was in the middle of that. Watch this here again. Watch Ormond in the green car make the move low on Shelton. And Turner was there to the left rear quarter panel. And then Dylan Young gets a piece. Oh, look at the shot there. That was Snyder. Eric Sadler, Reggie Fogelman were in it. Big hits. Big impact. Let's focus on the 89 of Quentin Moore, who had nothing to do with this wreck. He was an innocent bystander, and he takes a big shot right here as the car goes up and onto its side. There's the shot from Dylan Young, one from Fitzwater, Voiles, Lamas, Osborne. I don't know about Nick Gunther and Eric Monaco. They might have just sneaked through. We might have to take some onboards there. But big hits, and just the track completely blockaded up. There's nowhere to go. Let's go on board with the 55. Oh, wow. He just gets through. I think Joshua Osborne might have barely gotten through. I think that Eric Monaco might have barely gotten through. Here's an onboard with Austin the Plant. Watch this shot. Just nowhere to go. Nothing he can do, and then he gets clobbered from behind. This has not been the start to the season Austin the Plant has looked for. A driver who pointed his way into the playoffs last year through consistency, and this year he's just trying to do all he can to get himself a top 10. Heck, I think he'd settle for a top 20. But this is going to give us a restart here with under 50 laps to go. Be about, what, 36, 37 to go, maybe, depending on when these lights go out. Maybe 38. And Matt Haas now just has to hit his marks and do what he's been doing for the first 60 laps, keeping everybody in his rearview mirror because fuel will no longer be a concern. Now, we had, up until about 5 laps ago, all 42 cars running, all 42 cars on the lead lap. That caution has put a total of 10 drivers back behind the wall. We've got a couple of drivers that are a lap down there in Daniel Voiles and Jordan Lopez. The drivers out of the race, Dylan Young, Eric Sadler, Dylan Poteet, Austin the Plant, last week's winner Nathan Ormond, Quentin Moore, Zachary Fitzwater, points leader Benjamin Snyder, Summer Henson, and Caleb Fogler. So 32 cars running, 30 on the lead lap. This race completely got turned on its head after that incident into turn 3 and then exiting all the way out of turn number 4. Now, leaders will have the preferred line on the slower traffic there of Voiles and Lopez. Matt Haas will look to get up through the gears, get clear of Voiles before they get into turn 1. Ryan Brommer lining up second, Levi McIntyre third, Keith Batts and Autumn Brooks are the top 5. Rookie Daniel Bouchard is in 6th. Alexander Rowe, 7th, Laura Chung, Carson Gum, and Destin Boland. That is your top 10 as we get ready to go back green here at Las Vegas. Now the 26 very much so off the pace, as is the 82. Drivers will look to make quick work of them, as at least the top 3 or 4 have gotten themselves clear. Ryan Brommer with a run down the back straightaway, going to try and put those fresh Goodyears to use. Looking for the lead on Matt Haas. Matt Haas only had to deal with Levi McIntyre for much of that green flag run. Now he's got a bunch of drivers behind him looking for the top position. Brommer again on the bottom. Cannot get to the throttle. Had a big lift there in the entrance of turn 1. And Matt Haas is going to try and open up a little bit of daylight. Autumn Brooks has now moved into 3rd. Alexander Rowe into 4th for Brooks, into 5th for Alexander Rowe, and then near contact for 6th is Laura Chung trying to hold off Carson Gum. Last year's winner Kyler Sustre has now moved up into the 8th spot, and the caution is out again. Cautions breeding cautions in the second half of this race, as we'll line them up to do it again, and have to wonder if this might have something to do with those slower cars we had of Voiles and Jordan Lopez maybe wreaking havoc. And our defending champion Jessica Shelton was caught up in this one. Dustin Boland as well in the 0-2. Reggie Fogelman, not sure what's going on there, but he's smoking. I guess he just missed his pit stall and he's got to come back around. That's going to lay down some fluid on the inside apron of the racetrack, one would think. And Charles Sanford might have been involved in this one as well. And did Matt Haas just dive to pit road? He did. Why? Why is the 8 coming to pit lane? We've got other drivers pitting. Levi McIntyre just came in. Laura Chung. Kyler Sustry's coming in. These are drivers from inside of the top 10. I'm not sure why they're pitting unless they feel they can't make it. But Matt Haas just gave up the lead to Ryan Brommer. Caution out for the second time here this afternoon. I'm going to take a look and see if I can find out the reason that the 8 car, the 19 all came down pit road, and looks like they just came down to change tires. Doesn't look like there's anything untoward, no damage repair, no nothing like that. Very interesting. Well, let's take a look and see what brought out this yellow flag, and we'll start with the 94 of Jessica Shelton. Tight racing here, and she's going to get run out of room by her teammate Charles Sanford, and she goes up and over right on top of the 0-2 of Dustin Bolin. Nick Gunther's collected as well. They were 3 wide, stacked up because of the slower traffic on the bottom, and Charles Sanford just squeezed Shelton up the track into Reggie Fogelman, who had absolutely nowhere to go. Let's take another angle of that. Watch the 0-3. Does he get the apron here? No, he just pushes up. And Shelton immediately goes up and over. Gunther gets a good hit with the right rear quarter panel. And Shelton's car ends up turtled on its lid. And that is day done for the 94. I'll tell you who got a good look at all of this. That might very well have been the 98 of RJ Bishop. Let's see what he saw. Wow. Just narrowly avoids that, does RJ. Let's see who else would have given us a good look at that. I think maybe a couple cars back, Joshua Osborne, the Walmart Chevrolet, might have gotten a good look. Close call there for a few drivers. RJ Bishop, Jack Mitchell all able to get by. But cautions breeding cautions. We went nearly the first 60 laps completely under green. Caution came out. We lined them back up, and we're now working our second yellow flag of the afternoon. Matt Haas, Levi McIntyre, Laura Chung, Kyler Sustray, Nick Gunther, Charles Sanford all came to pit road under this caution period, and they will start towards the rear of the field as a result. That turns the lead over to Ryan Brommer. Brommer still looking for his first victory since his jump over to Auto Junction Racing. Of course, most notably, the runner-up for the championship back in Season 2 of the Cup Series. And Ryan, after a great run last week at Manassas that jumped him up from 29th to 16th, looking to ride that momentum, as he'll be the one to lead us back to green here with just a tick over 30 laps to go. Autumn Brooks will line up in second, looking for her first career win and only her second start. Remember, she failed to qualify for Daytona, made her debut last week at Manassas. Alexander Rowe looking to get back to victory lane for the first time in 4 seasons. Carson Gum is now up to 4th. James Qualls currently 5th. Matt McIntyre in 6th. Connor Breton in 7th. Benjamin Miles now 8th with Keith Batson and Cody Lamas. Your top 10. Reggie Fogelman, Destin Bolin, Jessica Shelton out of the race after that incident. 29 drivers running, 27 on the lead lap, and green flag set to fly once again here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Again, those slower cars on the bottom. Matt McIntyre, I think, thought he was going to be able to pick up a couple of spots, and he got wadded up behind him. That's going to cost him in the long run, unless he was able to split him 3 wide, as Brommer out in clean air for the first time this afternoon. Battle is on for second. Alexander Rowe looking to the inside of Autumn Brooks. Autumn on that outside, going to have a nice run out of 4. She's going to have a shot at Ryan Brommer for the race lead. Brommer slams the door. Man, what a dive into turn 1 by Alexander Rowe. He carried a ton of speed and he almost cleared Autumn for second place. Carson Gum looking on in 4th, looking to see what will happen. Rowe will tuck in front of him. James Qualls holding down the 5th position. As I'm looking at it right now, Carson Gum, James Qualls, woo, man, Autumn Brooks really loose there into turn 1. But Alexander Rowe, Carson Gum, James Qualls are all looking for their first top 10 finishes on the season. Ryan Brommer got one last week at Manassas. And all the drivers right now in the top 5 are all looking for their first top 5 of the season. Top 3 have gotten themselves spaced out a bit, back to 4th place. It's where we find Carson Gum, James Qualls, and Connor Breton in his second full-time season with Northeast Motorsports. Connor just ran his fastest lap of the race on lap 73. Breton 32nd in points coming to this one. He's another driver searching for his first top 10 of the year. Matt McIntyre, 9th in points coming into this race. Now battling with Benjamin Miles. Miles, with Benjamin Snyder out of this race, could very well be heading into Pocono next week as the new points leader. I don't really see anybody else up there in the point standings that are ahead of him that could take advantage of the points lead. Snyder's out of the race. Jack Mitchell is currently in 14th. Dylan Young's out of the race. Cole Deaver is back in 25th. Matt Haas right now in 19th. Matt has been able to pick up some spots after coming to pit road, getting those fresh tires. He's gotten around Anthony McCrory, Cole Deaver, Michael Norman, and Jesse Turner. But the driver that's led 64 laps so far today is currently outside of the top 15. After a strategy call, which might have been the thought that we might end up having more cautions. As battle for the lead, Brooks is going to clear. Maybe, not quite. Oh, she had him cleared halfway through 3 and 4, but Brommer gets back to her outside. That might have been the opportunity there for Autumn Brooks to take the lead. Look at how Ryan Brommer rips the top there through 1 and 2, and he's going to pull away. They're going to be able to reel him back in, though. Now Autumn Brooks trapped on the bottom. Alexander Rowe looking to move into 2nd place around the outside line. Brooks not going to give it up without a fight. Might have to give way here. Nope, Rowe's not clear yet. Brooks still to his left rear quarter panel. Now Rowe is clear, and Carson Gum's going to go around for 3rd place. Brooks will go from 2nd to 4th after not being able to clear Ryan Brommer for the top spot. Toyota, Ford, Toyota, Mazda, Chevy is your top 5 right now. And there's still a long ways to go in this race. This thing is not over by a long shot. I mean, when we come around a couple more laps, we'll be at 20 laps left. Still a lot of racing still to be done. A lot can happen between now and the checkered flag. We could have another yellow to bunch everybody back up. We've worked 2 cautions so far here this afternoon. That has put 12 cars back in the garage area. Big run there on the top through 3 and 4 for Alexander Rowe. He'll try and get to the back bumper of Ryan Brommer. Remember, this 46 car is the rebranded, if you will, 74 car that Casey Hoyt put in victory lane 3 times last season. Alexander Rowe, very talented driver, a regular season champion with Auto Junction Racing back in season 5. So you put that combination together, no surprise to see the 46 up here battling for the race lead, potentially the race win. Couldn't make the move that time on Ryan Brommer, though. If you're gonna pass the 87, you gotta catch him on the outside as Carson Gum. I think there was definite contact right there between the 46 and the 19. Big run here for Alexander Rowe. Does he send it? Not going to be able to. Brommer's going to stay there to the lead as just had a pass for 5th. Connor Breton worked his way around the outside of James Qualls. A move Breton's 88 now up into the top 5. Let's look a little further back here. Matt McIntyre currently in the 7th spot with Joshua Osborne hounding him. So a couple of Joanna Atwood Motorsports cars having good runs up inside of the top 10 late. Benjamin Miles trying to hold off Keith Batson. That's 9th and 10th place right there. Daniel Bouchard just made his way around Cody Lamas to move to 11th. Lamas right now in the 12th spot. And then here's the battle for 13th. We mentioned about Casey Hoyt. Well, there he is in his new ride at Northeast Motorsports, looking to the inside of Kyle Matthews. This is for P13. Jack Mitchell right there as well in the 0-1. Eric Monaco not that far behind also. Looks like Daniel Bouchard in line to get Rookie of the Race, unless Monaco can get up here in the closing stages. Autumn Brooks with the rookie stripes as well, but she's not battling for Rookie of the Year honors. Not this season anyway. As Brommer now opens up about 3 car lengths back to Alexander Rowe, another 5 car lengths back to Carson Gum. Breton showed the nose on Autumn Brooks looking for 4th, but didn't have the momentum that time by. I can't recall the last time Ryan Brommer went to victory lane. I think it would have to be going all the way back to his time at Bulldog Motorsports when he and Zach Rogers ran Dodges. Brommer ran a season in a Chevrolet for Pigeon Racing. Back in Season 5, he was teamed up with, I believe it was Chris Dollerton and Ryan Acosta, if I recall correctly. But he didn't go to victory lane there. Then he made the jump over here to Auto Junction Racing, and he's been winless with this organization. So, for Ryan Brommer, it will snap a long, long winless streak. And it'll be the first time I think he goes back to victory lane since season... maybe season 4, season 3 or 4. But Alexander Rowe, he's got something to say about it. Big run there through 3 and 4. Brommer saw it coming. He'll go down and block that run. And keeps Alexander Rowe at bay for the time being. Checks him up. And now Rowe will fall back to the 19 of Carson Gum. Or will he? No, he won't. Rowe actually was able to back off, get a run, and he'll try again here through 3 and 4. It's not going to work. I think the only place where a move on the inside is going to work is over in turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4, it just does not look like it's there anymore. Well, these laps painstakingly long for Ryan Brommer. I should mention as well, we had those 2 slower cars of Daniel Voiles and Jordan Lopez. They're still out there. We might encounter traffic before this race is over. Here's Rowe trying again in 3. The grip's just not there. He gets the run on the back straightaway. If he could get the momentum on the front straightaway, I think he'd have a better shot down on the low side of turn 1. Let's find those slower cars. Daniel Voiles right now is, I think, exiting out of 2. The leaders are exiting out of 2 now, so there's only about half a straightaway before they're going to catch the 26. Jordan Lopez is quite a ways further up. But slow car could play a factor. Here we go. There's 3 and 4 move by Alexander Rowe. He's going to have draft as well from Carson Gum, and Rowe made the pass. Alexander Rowe to the lead. Carson Gum will move into 2nd. All of a sudden, that inside line found something. They ganged up on Ryan Brommer, who's going to go from the top spot all the way back to 3rd, and Rowe is the new race leader at Vegas. We've not had very many leaders here today. Matt Haas led the first 64 laps. Levi McIntyre has led 1. Alexander Rowe had now just led 1, now make it 2. As he's going to get held up behind Daniel Voiles. And Ryan Brommer has led 22 laps. Oh, Carson's going to get wadded up behind the 26. He's going to just barely get in front of the 87 to get around. Autumn Brooks now going to get held up behind Daniel Voiles. Or is she? Voiles now moves down to the inside of the racetrack. Now Brooks will get alongside and bypass the Coke Zero Ford. Everybody trying to pick their moments to get around Voiles, but it allows the top 3 to get by. Jordan Lopez is halfway down the back straightaway. Next time by will be 10 laps to go. I don't know if the leaders are going to encounter him or not. But Alexander Rowe, the new driver over at Lake Effect Autosport, the team underwent almost a complete total change. The only thing that was the same was Jesse Turner as a driver and his number in the 47. They rebranded the numbers, they rebranded the drivers, obviously. Reese Banks and Casey Hoyt. Banks no longer in the series, Hoyt moving over to Northeast Motorsports. They brought on the veteran of Alexander Rowe, and they brought on the Lights champion, now rookie this season, Eric Monaco. And it looks like the moves are going to pay dividends unless something happens here in these final 8 laps or so. Carson Gum tried to close up on Alexander Rowe, but not having much success in doing so. Ryan Brommer holding down the 3rd spot, taking a look there, taking a peek on Carson Gum for 2nd going into the 3. And then Autumn Brooks and Connor Breton right now your top 5. Alexander Rowe came into this race 27th in points, had a 27.5 average finishing position in the first 2 races. And right now, if he can close the deal out, he's still got, I'm still wondering about that 82 up there of Jordan Lopez. If Rowe can get around him, I think that he's got enough of a gap back to Carson Gum and company that he can walk away with this victory. So far, Toyota has a victory this season. Ford has a victory this season. They're looking for back-to-back wins. And I go back to questioning those drivers that came to pit road under the last caution. The highest of them right now is Laura Chung, who's only gotten up to 18th place. Levi McIntyre's 19th, Matt Haas, Kyler Sustre, Nick Gunther in 20th, 21st, and 22nd. They gave up a lot of track position to come to pit road for fresh rubber, maybe thinking that it was going to allow them more maneuverability, more passing opportunities, but Matt Haas had the dominant car of the day, and he gave up all that track position. Maybe it was a case of the leader trying to lead everybody down pit road, and it was do the opposite of what the leader does. I don't know, but whatever it was, completely changed the landscape of the front of the field, and Alexander Rowe is going to have some company. Carson Gum's been able to reel him in. Does Carson have anything for Rowe here in the closing stages as they are now closing up on that 82? Carson going to pounce. Looks to the inside. Not going to be able to do it this time. Got really tight through the center of the corner. Carson's going to have to use the 82 as a pick as they are going to catch him. They're going to catch him here on the front straightaway. A2 is off the pace, but he's not as off the pace as the 26. And Lopez is going to go down right in front of Alexander Rowe. Rowe is going to look low on the 82. I think Carson was trying to see if he could pin the 46 behind the 82. Was not able to do so. And now they're all single file underneath Jordan Lopez. So that's going to be it for the traffic. Now it comes down to who's going to make the move. Carson Gum falling back a little, might be trying to set himself up for a run. Alexander Rowe going to be prepared for it, try to make that bumper as wide as he possibly can. There will be no more traffic coming into play here. Jesse Turner is about 7 seconds ahead of the leaders, and he is a teammate to the 46. There he is, making his way through 3 and 4. The leader is just now heading into turn 3. No way that he's going to be encountered in the next 3 laps. And is Rowe coming to pit road? The 46 is coming to pit road! Now we know why the 8 and company pit. They were close on fuel, but I didn't realize they were that close. Rowe couldn't make it on fuel, and Carson Gum takes the lead with 2 to go. Oh my gosh, now it's come down to the gamble on fuel. Carson Gum is the leader. Can he make it the rest of the way? Slow through 3 and 4. Is Carson going to pit? No, he's going to stay out. Brommer will as well. It's a couple of Toyotas. White flag, 1 lap to go here at Las Vegas. Alexander Rowe could not make it on fuel. We've got others on pit road that couldn't make it either. It came down to fuel strategy. It came down to a gamble, typical Las Vegas. Carson Gum, rear bumper, full of Ryan Brommer. Can he keep him at bay through 3 and 4? Off the final corner, the full house, 150, will go to the 19 of Carson Gum. Carson back to victory lane for the first time in over a season. He went winless the entirety of Season 7. And Carson, who came into this race 40th in points, that is next to last of the drivers that started the first 2 races. This is a shot in the arm that he definitely needed, as he will put the Fortnite Squad Racing's Toyota entry in victory lane for the first time in Season 8. Fortnite Squad Racing has been a long-time Chevrolet supporter. They made the jump over to the Toyota Camry XSEs here for Season 8. And Carson Gum finally gets back to victory lane. It's a 1-2 finish for the Toyotas, with Ryan Brommer bringing it home in the 2nd spot. And Autumn Brooks, in only her 2nd career start, is going to complete the podium here this afternoon. Who else couldn't make it on fuel? Daniel Bouchard, Anthony McCrory, Jesse Turner, Matt McIntyre, Keith Batson, Connor Breton all had to hit pit road in the closing stages of this one. I didn't think we were that close. I didn't think we were that close on the window. We had pit stops around lap 60. That was past halfway. I thought for sure everybody was going to be able to make it. Now we know why McIntyre, Sustre, Haas all came to pit lane. They knew that it was going to be close, and they didn't want to take the gamble. I think they planned on everybody else not being able to make it. Unfortunately for them, the top 11 were able to make it on fuel, but wow. This race just kept giving us surprises around every single corner. And Carson Gum, he's going to leapfrog in the point standings for sure with this victory here this afternoon. Ryan Brommer is going to for sure move up into the top 10 in the points with this runner-up finish. Back-to-back top 10s for him in his first top 5 of the season. Autumn Brooks, can't say enough about what she was able to do here today. Had one of the best cars to pass, it certainly seemed like, up inside of the top 10. And nets a podium finish in only her 2nd start. How about the Joanna Atwood Motorsports Chevrolets? Joshua Osborne 4th and James Qualls in 5th. Osborne will be up in the top 5 in points, no doubt. James Qualls, who was 37th in standings, this will push him up in the point standings also. Cody Lama struggled last week at Manassas, dropped to 33rd in points. He gets 6th. I think Benjamin Miles may be our new points leader heading into next week, as he's going to net a top 10 in 7th. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think with Jack Mitchell finishing just outside of the top 10 and 11th, I think Miles is now the only driver to go 3 for 3 and finishing in the top 10 here this season. Kyle Matthews, great run for him after a top 10 last week at Manassas. He gets 8th place today. RJ Bishop, who got those laps yesterday in the lights race, he'll get 9th, and Casey Hoyt will bring it home in the 10th position. Mitchell will be 11th. And those were the drivers that made it on fuel on just the one stop. Laura Chung, who was one of the drivers that pit under our 2nd caution, will bring it home in 12th. Eric Monaco will finish in 13th, which I think is going to get him Rookie of the Race. Levi McIntyre was 14th, and Kyler Sustre, the defending winner of this race, will get 15th. Matt Haas, after leading a race-high 64 laps, he'll finish in 16th place. Cole Deaver was 17th. Michael Norman, after starting in the last row for the second straight week, he'll finish top 20 and 18th. Nick Gunther was 19th, and 20th was Charles Sanford. Rest of these drivers were not able to make it on fuel, had to pit in the closing stages. Keith Batson, 21st. Connor Breton, 22nd. Matt McIntyre, 23rd. Alexander Rowe from the lead had to come to pit road and will finish 24th. Daniel Bouchard in 25th. Anthony McCrory, 26th. And Jesse Turner in 27th. All those drivers had to pit in the final few laps of this race. Jordan Lopez finishes 2 laps down in 28th. Daniel Voyles also 2 laps down in 29th. And after 2 cautions, some big wrecks between 3 and 4, we had a total of 12 drivers that did not reach conclusion. Reggie Fogelman, Destin Bolin, Jessica Shelton, Dylan Young, Eric Sadler, Dylan Poteet, Austin LaPlante, last week's winner Nathan Ormond, Quentin Moore, Zachary Fitzwater, the driver that came into this race as the points leader, Benjamin Snyder, Summer Henson, and Caleb Fogler. Started last and finished last, did the number 28 car this afternoon at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Well, we said the key word before we even went green. Strategy was going to be the call here today. Little did we know it was going to come down literally to the final few laps of this race. But Carson Gum played the strategy correctly. He had the fuel to get to the end, and he nets his first win of the season, second win of the season for Toyota, and third different driver to go to victory lane. What an incredible start to the year we have had with only 3 races under our belt, and it's only going to get better because strategy is going to be the key word next week when the Lights and Cup drivers head to the tricky triangle in the Pocono Mountains, the 2.5-mile triangle known as Pocono Raceway. But thank you all for tuning in to today's unpredictable race from Las Vegas. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today, and be sure to hit that bell notification to get notified when these broadcasts go live on NNSCRA TV. We've shown you your full finisher results here today from Las Vegas. You're now looking at the fallout point standings at the conclusion of this one. Next week, Lights drivers, Cup drivers, head to Pocono Raceway. Hope to see you there. I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.